Hello, my name is Roshan Narayan, and thank you for joining us on In20. If you're watching us on YouTube, do
that back four and protect and pass the ball very, very simply. Brilliant. If you put leg.
We're going live for the very first time on Twitter. So hello there, Trollland. I know where most of y'all live is on Twitter. So welcome to the show. And if you're watching us on the Facebook page, that's Danny Mills who's sniffing. And he's got his fantastic headgear on. Why are you sniffing, Danny, so much?
It's freezing, Roshan. I mean, it's Sunday morning. I've had to go out and buy potatoes for lunch. I thought I'd get it in early on, but it's about -5. -5, -6. It is absolutely freezing to the bone.
Okay, it's lovely, warm over here. A bit, humid, but I'll take my weather over yours any day of the week. Remember, if you're watching us on the Rakyat Post, thank you very much. And if it's on YouTube, hit subscribe. Because if you are on YouTube or Facebook or anywhere on social media, you would have watched this video of Jurgen Klopp, post-match after the Leicester City game, Danny, where he basically admitted he's done. The title was for Liverpool in terms of the Premier League. Was that just, a little bit of or was he serious?
I couldn't work out to start with whether it was mocked up or a bit of a meme or whatever it was. By all accounts, it's not, and it's genuine. But obviously now, they've lost so many games. That's it. They are done and dusted for the title. Even if they were to win every single game between now and the end of the season, City are not going to lose 6 games. 5 or 6 games. That's not going to happen. Even Manchester United, Liverpool's biggest challenge now is making it into the top 4. That has to be their real challenge. Was it Roy Keane said last week, the week before? This is the worst title defence that he's ever seen, and you have to say now that the stats are backing that up.
That could be a bit harsh as well from a former United legend. He might have a point as well, but Danny, I'll give you credit. Late December, early January, you did mention on this very show, if he doesn't do something about his defense or certain aspects of his team, they're going to implode, and they've imploded badly. It's not like a one-off, like a Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United implosion. They have rectified that. But how has it gone so wrong so fast for Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp?
They seem to they got away with it, didn't they, at the start of the season? Obviously, they got beat 7-0, and that was with Virgil van Dijk. Remember, that wasn't like they were weak at that stage. That was a really strange result, for them. And then obviously Virgil van Dijk gets injured, then Joe Gomez gets injured, Trent Alexander-Arnold's out for a bit, and they managed to get through that okay. And then they were still top of the table, or pushing for the top of the table at that stage. You think, okay, they've managed to get through this. And then they started to get a few players back, and it imploded again, bizarrely. And it's really strange. I mean, it's very, very difficult to maintain incredibly high standards for 3 seasons in a row. Manchester United, the only team ever to win the title 3 times in a row. We've seen that. As good as Manchester City have been under Pep, still didn't manage to do that. And obviously in their 3rd season, Liverpool was so much better. It's hard to describe, but to maintain those standards for 2 seasons is really, really tough. To do it for 3 is nigh impossible, at times. And that's what Liverpool, I guess, did, with the way that they played. And sometimes, time, energy, effort, mental fatigue, everything catches up with you. And maybe that's what happened at Liverpool. And, maybe they haven't refreshed quite as much as they needed to.
As a Dortmund fan, I'll tell you this is exactly what I saw. We spoke about this privately over the phone. It's exactly what's happening to Liverpool. I saw this happen. He's changed a bit in terms of he stays true to his players. This time around with Liverpool, he's brought in players. So is there any way he can fix this at least for this season, or is it his final season at Liverpool for Jurgen Klopp?
He brought in Diogo Jota. Who was outstanding. What a great signing that was. Thiago has changed the way that they play slightly in that midfield. So but you have to evolve as a football team. We see that time and time again. You can't just do the same things over and over. You have to adapt. You have to keep changing with the times. Your
opponents will figure you out as well.
Say again, sorry.
Your opponents will figure you out as well.
Yeah, of course they will. So you have to keep changing. You have to keep evolving. You have to keep improving. You can't just go, well, we've got the best front three, so we're going to continue to play this way because teams, right? Okay, how are we going to combat that? What are we going to do? How are we going to set up against it and make it very, very awkward? And I just feel that maybe Liverpool haven't quite adapted this season. When from a position of strength, did they really strengthen enough in the summer? I don't think they did. And that's the problem. So they brought in Thiago, who was injured for a little bit, but changes the style of play slightly. And I know it's a very, very strange one. But Klopp seems to be one or two cracks appearing in his demeanour, whether that's frustration, whatever it might be. Little sort of excuses. He's always been fabulous with the press, and it's always been Jose that's been the prickly one, the antagonist, and everything else. Suddenly now that's changed, I think, a little bit, and some of the excuses we've seen from Jurgen Klopp, some of the things that he said, aren't going down particularly well.
And unfortunately, he has lost a very dear person to him, his mum. He just lost her recently as well, so that could be a problem. But let's get into that. That's his personal life, and let's leave it there. But if this scenario continues, when does Steven Gerrard enter the fray?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? Steven Gerrard is doing very, very well up at Rangers. He's leading them to their first title in 10 years.
That's a miracle, isn't it, Rangers?
Oh, he's got a fantastic coaching staff as well. You have to remember, Gary McAllister's there with him, ex-Liverpool captain, Liverpool legend. I forget the name of his coach. Is it Michael Beale? Is also there. Has been at Liverpool before as well. I think he was at the academy. There are a lot of links with Liverpool. Within that squad, it would be a very simple and comfortable fit, wouldn't it? If that were to be the case. I don't think it happens until the end of the season at the earliest. But we'll have to wait and see on that.
And Jurgen Klopp will get a job anywhere in the world because he will bring success. He'll bring titles. Real Madrid,
oh, definitely. And I'm not saying he should be sacked or anything like that. It's just maybe whether Jurgen Klopp decides that actually it's time to now move on. What's this? This is his fifth season at Liverpool, sixth season, whatever it might be. That's quite a long time in this day and age for a manager to be at a football club. It's a very long time. No other managers seem to do that. So he might just be getting a little bit weary, a little bit tired of the situation. Maybe doesn't have quite the same impact as he once did. So it might be more of a case of he fancies a change, as we've seen with Pep. Walk away from big successes, for a new challenge.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will never leave the club. He'll be there in 2021 as well when we're all dead and gone because they still believe in him. But let's talk about players who have actually believed in themselves and out of nowhere have structured a career for themselves in a way that we are talking about them on a regular basis. Martinez, who were surplus at Arsenal, had a good run in the cup. He's moved over to Aston Villa. Would you say that he is the buy of the season so far? Because he's at Aston Villa, he's not the biggest name in the world, he doesn't get enough recognition.
Buy of the season, I'd have to have a real good think about that. I don't think he's certainly been unbelievably successful, and he's done incredibly well. I'm not going to knock him for that. But I think sometimes he's been playing.
But this
for a long,
save,
long
come
time.
on, this performance in this game,
it's a fantastic save. It's magnificent. Not going to argue with that. You could argue that Rafinha at Leeds has been one of the buys of the season. Young player coming in, and there's apparently being courted now by lots of the big clubs in the Premier League. There are lots of players that have done very, very well this season that maybe have just gone under the radar. But these players have been playing football since they were 11, 12 years old. They've been learning their craft for a long, long time, honing their skills. So they haven't come from nowhere. It's not the holy effect as everybody thinks sometimes, that they've just turned up yesterday, and put on a pair of boots or a pair of gloves, and suddenly they've become this great footballer overnight. He's obviously been a very, very capable goalkeeper at Arsenal in their reserve team, second team, if you like. But no, he's obviously he's now been given the belief and the confidence that he's number one. So, and I think that's taken him to that next level, and that's what you need sometimes as a player. You need somebody to have belief in you, to say, actually, I think you are good enough, and no matter what, you're going to play. And playing with confidence, playing with that belief and the knowledge that even if you make a tiny mistake, you're not going to get dropped, doesn't half make a huge difference.
Okay, I'm going to give you a few names. Let me make it easier for you. Okay, I think I threw in the deep end with Martinez. I didn't, but if you say I do, I'll believe you. Højbjerg, James Rodriguez, Jota, Wesley Fofana, Ruben Diaz, people like that. Would you say that these players are there in terms of buys of the season?
Ruben Diaz has been outstanding, but I think people knew
those games just flicked across.
Yeah, but Ruben Diaz was an exceptional player anyhow. We knew that. Højbjerg plays in a certain way. We've seen what he's done in the past, but we've seen what Mourinho has done with players like Nemanja Matic when he brought him in. And he wants a specific player for a specific position to do a certain job. And he's done that incredibly well. But he was still a good player before that. He was still an international. Jota was outstanding. We knew that. Gone to Liverpool and gone to another level. Possibly playing with better players. James Rodriguez, wow, outstanding talent. Wesley Fofana is probably the one that is maybe the lesser known of all of those.
But he's good, man. I like him.
Oh, he's done fantastically well. So he's maybe one that people didn't know of so much. So yeah, I think he's gone on. He is one that's genuinely one that's gone under the radar a little bit.
So if I had to make you pick one so far, you have to give me one. I can't let you go without it. Any, mini, money.
Oh, out of that list, who's had the biggest impact? I'm going to go Ruben Diaz.
Whoa! As in he's completely changed.
What do you mean, whoa? Hang on a minute. Hang on. City have got the best defensive record in the Premier League, I think. That's off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Last year they were a chocolate teapot at the back. You know what I mean? It was just
fair enough.
The transformation that he's come in and the partnership he's formed with John Stones, and he's reinvigorated John Stones' career. Come on, you can't. You don't think he's had the biggest impact?
I'll give. I'm leaning towards Fofana because I like his style of play. Yeah, Ruben Diaz without a shadow of a doubt. James Rodriguez, Højbjerg as well. But okay, I'll give you this, Danny, because you were, after all, a former England national. You had the armband. Do you still have that armband, by the way?
I do indeed. I tell you, look, I don't know if this is going to work.
Okay, don't go offline yet. This is a live show.
No.
Oh wow, that's you.
Somebody game put it this way: someone's not happy that I've got it.
Who?
Who do you think?
You've got to give me a name. I don't know.
Well, who was the England captain?
Oh, was he not happy?
No, they're very precious. Those armbands, apparently. There's no way he was getting that off me. I just have to say, obviously, what I think it was Friday. Wayne, 2003 on Friday that Wayne Rooney made his debut for England, and clearly that was where obviously all the records for Wayne Rooney started. And there was a certain person that obviously led him to that and had a huge influence on his career, and that would have been the captain on the pitch at the time.
Of course, Wayne Rooney's success is down to Danny Mills.
It really had nothing to do with me at all. But there you go. I'll use it. I'll use that stat.
I don't want to get you into trouble, but could you just name us the person who was not happy with you as I scroll through my program sheet?
David.
Come on. Oh, David. Yes, golden balls. Let's move on to... I'm just kidding. If you mention the name, then at least there'll be more traction. If I mention the name, they'll be like,
Yes,
you see, I'm just using you for numbers.
I think
God bless you.
David Beckham, whatever you want to call him, liked to keep all those armbands. And obviously, because that was given to me in the second half, because I think there was 11 changes made in the game at half time. Sven gave me the armband. I think Sir David wanted... Oh, he's not Sir David, is he? Sir David wanted that back, and he wasn't getting it. Not a chance. Not a chance. Well, I think it would have been those... I say, you want it back? Fight me for it.
I'd rather not fight you, Danny, because you do have a reputation of being such a lovely man. Exactly. But there's going to be a fight on the cards right now, based on the topic we're going to talk about, which is Alisson versus Beckham or rather Ederson versus Alisson in terms of the best goalkeeper from Brazil right now. It's been going back and forth between the two. Alisson, of course, the Champions League winner, the Premier League title was his. But what has happened to him of late?
Well, I think Alisson's obviously just got cold feet. He doesn't like the cold weather. These minus temperatures, as Jurgen Klopp says, are not good for him. It's strange, isn't it? Sometimes when you're always taught in football, don't follow a mistake with a mistake, and certainly not the same mistake. And you're thinking, well, hang on a minute, it's just a basic rule, of what you need to do. But he's made one, and then he makes another one. You go into the next game, you're thinking, well, does he make another one in the next game? Is that a bit of a risk? Whereas I have to say, Ederson has gone the other way. We've known how good he is for a long, long time. Passing out from the back and hitting those balls, and the assist for Gundogan's goal. Just outstanding. But I think Ederson now is ahead by some distance. I think the level of consistency that he has is just magnificent.
And you know what's surprising for Alisson to make those mistakes? Literally reminded me of Fabian Barthez, but two very different goalkeepers.
I mean, it is a really strange one because he's been an outstanding goalkeeper for a long, long time now, and we've always talked about he's in the right place at the right time. He doesn't make mistakes really. He doesn't take risks, and suddenly something's obviously happened. Where he's made a mistake, that's affected his confidence, and then he's tried to maybe rectify that, and that hasn't quite happened. Again, new centre halves coming in, that never helps. New partnerships, having to learn, people's strengths and weaknesses very, very quickly. But yeah, I think the last couple of games have really cost Liverpool dear. That's not, you can't blame Alisson for the title challenge. That's a team collective. They haven't been good enough as a team. But people look at those last two results and gone, now they've got no chance of winning the title.
Oh dear. So if that's settled for you, Ederson. Jose Mourinho has always come out and defended Hugo Lloris and saying that he is the man in terms of the goalkeeper for Tottenham. But how would you rate him in terms of goalkeepers you've seen in the Premier League right now on current form?
I'd always forget about current form. Is he world class? I don't quite think so. I think he's that next level down. Even when you look at performances in the past, he's never been particularly dominating of his area. He hasn't been. There's always a minor mistake. Look at the World Cup final. Gets away with it. There's always a mistake in him, I think, in a game. And I think that's why in the past he's always been that next level down to the likes of Alisson, De Gea. When they've been at absolute top form, they were making no mistakes. Hugo Lloris might have been making a mistake, but getting away with it in a game.
Yep.
And I think, even... So I think, he's a very, very good goalkeeper. Very, very capable. But in my opinion, he's that next level down when you look at, world-class goalkeepers.
Game, Manchester City versus Tottenham. The one thing that caught my eye was this little clip about Jose Mourinho saying hello to two players in particular. If you can play it right now, it'd be fantastic. You just watch this, Danny. Two players in particular. Yes, they're Portuguese, and yes, I might be overstretching it. But if you know Jose Mourinho, this is a man with a plan. He's planning 10 years later, for his future. Is that a clear sign of, him becoming the next manager for Portugal, say for the World Cup in 2022?
Maybe. Jose never does anything unless it's premeditated. He's one of the most intelligent, cleverest people on the planet, when it comes to planning his future. So maybe it's just the fact that he's Portuguese and maybe he has a link and maybe he knows them. That could be the other reason. But you know what? Let's go with 2 and 2 makes 2026, whatever it is, and he's going to be Portugal manager when that comes around.
That team is fantastic. That team in the making for Portugal, midfield, up front, and even now defense, it's unbelievable. Yeah, you watch that team.
Well, and also, no, it is absolutely superb. But if you're looking at, when Mourinho is going to take over Portugal, probably Ronaldo's gone then as well. May not be in the team anymore, and that could be maybe he's waiting for that to happen, for Ronaldo to step down before he wants that job, because it's going to be a nightmare, isn't it? You know, the power that Ronaldo, but the power he wields, the power that he has, the adulation he has from everybody. It's like, if he's in the squad, you've got to play him. You know, you can't leave him out, even if he's 41 years old and he's, you know, hobbling around. He's got to, you know, you're going to have to play him, because, you know, that people will demand that. And the moment you lose a game, why have you not played Ronaldo? So maybe he has to wait until Ronaldo steps down before he can take over that job.
Ooh, well done, Danny, to hand it on a high. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll see you next week. Hopefully it'll be far better conditions in terms of weather and your headgear as well when you're on the show next. I'm no one to talk about it, by the way. I'm just wearing a black cap.
That's the other option. It's not great, is it?
No, it's not. God bless you, Danny Mills. You're a good friend and a fantastic pundit. Don't forget to catch all our highlights on our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter account. Till the next time, take care.